to another lesson, and we're going to look at topic in Form 2 known as gradient and equation of a straight line. And we're going to start by defining what gradient is, and then we're going to see how we are going to be able to get the equation of a straight line. This topic revolves around the two, the gradient of a line and the equation of a line. So gradient is a measure of steepness or the measure of a slope. So that's what gradient is, how slope is a line or how steep is a line. And of course gradient is given by change in y divided by change in x. So you're going to be looking at how far has the line changed in terms of y-axis and then the x-axis. And then can just write it as change in y or change in x. That's the gradient. And you're going to do some questions here to be able to understand the same. We have a question, example 1, that find the gradient of the lines passing through A, 2, 3, and 5, 6, and then B, 5 minus 2, and 6, 2, then part C, 2 minus 5, and 2, 3. So let's start with the first one, part A. We have a line that is passing through point 2, 3, and 5, 6. We want to get the gradient, and the gradient is given by the change in y over change in x. So in this case, these values, of course, is x values, and this is y value. So you first deal with the change in y. So you can get either this minus this or that minus that, whichever. So let me use the second one minus the first one. So 6 minus 3 divided by then 5 minus 2. 5 minus 2. Remember, don't interchange. If you start with the second point, also for the x-axis, start with the second point. So 6 minus 3, we're going to get 3, and 5 minus 2 is going to be 3. Then 3 over 3 is equals to 1. So the gradient of the first one should be equals to 1. That's the gradient. Let's look at number B. The points given is 5 minus 2 and 6, 2. We want to get the gradient. The gradient, of course, is given by change in y over change in x. So you can have the second point, we supply the first one. So you start with the y values, 2 minus 2 divided by 6 minus 5. 6 minus 5. So 2 minus 2 is going to be 2 plus 2. You get 4. Divided by 6 minus 5, you are going to get 1. So 4 over 1 is 4. So the gradient of the second part is 4. Then part C, we have the point being 2 minus 5, and the other point is 2, 3. Want the gradient of this point, and the gradient we have said is given by change in y divided by change in x, and I can get, you can use the first point now, subtract the second one. So of course you're going to start with the y values, minus 5 minus 3 divided by, get the first 2, we subtract the other 2 there. This is going to get minus 5 minus 3 should be minus 8. Then 2 minus 2 is 0. And minus 8 divided by 0, that was going to be a very big number. It is yet to be identified. So the gradient in that case, you're going to say infinite, a very big number, infinite. So let's look at now the equation of a straight line. Having looked at the gradient, we need to know now about the equation of a straight line. Now, when you want to get the equation of a straight line, there are two requirements. Number one, you need to have the gradient of the line, and number two, you need to have a point where the line is passing. So when you have the two, you can be able to get the equation of a straight line. And we have two methods of getting the equation of a straight line. Method one is, or one scenario is when you're given a gradient and a point the line is passing, and method two is when you're given 2 points, or the scenarios that you can be able to have for you to be able to get the equation of a straight line. And then let's start with the first one. When you're given a gradient and a point, how do you get the equation of a line? And we have an example here. We're going to demonstrate. We have find the equation of a line with given gradients and the passing through points given. Part 1, the gradient is 4 and the line is passing through point 25. Then part 2, the gradient is minus a third and it is passing through point 62. So let's start with the first one and see how do we get the equation of a line given the gradient and the point. So part 1, we have the gradient is given as 4 and the point that line is passing is 0.25. So for us to get the gradient, one, we just have arbitrary point xy anywhere along the line, or anywhere the line is passing. So we get the formula of getting the gradient is given by shading y or shading x. Then shading y will be now from xy to 5. So y, we subtract 5 divided by x, subtract 2. This one should give us the gradient, which is equals to 4. 4 is the same as 4 for 1. So from there, we can cross multiply and have 1 times y minus 5 is equals to 4 to bracket 4 times x minus 2. And from there, you can have 1 times y is y minus 5 is equals to 4 times x, 4x minus 8, 4 times minus 2 is minus 8. So you can have y on one side, then 4x minus 8, we take minus 7 on the other side, it's going to be plus 5. So you're going to have y is equals to 4x minus 8 plus 5 should be minus 3. So that's the equation of a line given y is equals to 4x minus 3. Let's look at part 2. Part 2, we have the gradient is equals to minus a third and the line is passing through point 62. So we get arbitrary point xy, and then we get our gradient using the formula. Gradient is equal to shading y over shading x, and that's going to have y minus 2 divided by x minus 6 is going to give us minus 1 over 3. Then we cross multiply, we have 3 multiplied by y minus 2 is equals to minus 1 multiplied by x minus 6. So you're going to be having 3y minus 3 times 2 minus 6 is equals to minus 1 times x, you get minus x, minus 1 times 6, you get plus 6. So you're going to have 3y is equals to minus x, then minus 6 goes to the other side, we're having plus 6 plus 6. Then we have it's going to be 3y is equals to minus x plus 12. So that's the equation of So let's look at the second part, how to get the equation of straight line when you are given 2 points. So this is another scenario that you can be having. You have 2 points and you're required to get the equation of a line. So the example reads that find the equation of a line passing through the given points. Part 1, 0, 4 and minus 1, minus 2. Part 2, 11, 1 and 14, 4. Then part 3, 3, 7 and 5, 7. So we're going to see how we get the equation of a line when you have the 2 points by doing these 3 examples. Let's start with part 1. We have a point 0 minus 0, 4 and minus 1, minus 2. So the first thing to do here, for us to get the equation of the line, we know that we need to have a gradient and a point that the line is passing. So we have to first get the gradient of this line, and the gradient is given by a change in y over change in x, and can have the gradient take 4 minus 2, 2 is minus, divided by 0, minus 1. So you're going to get 4 minus 2. A minus 4 by minus is usually plus. So 4 minus 2, you're going to get 6. Then 0 minus 1 is 0 plus 1, you get 1. So our gradient is 6. Then we choose one point, either 0, 4 or minus 1, 2. Can take point 0, 4, one of them, and then arbitrary point x, y, anywhere along the line. So from there we get the formula of the gradient is change in y over change in x. This one is going to be given by now y minus 4 over x minus 0 should give us our gradient, which is equals to 6. Then from there, 6 is the same as 6 over 1, we cross multiply, get y minus 4 times 1 should be equals to 6 times x minus 0 is x, so I write it like that. So y minus 4 is equals to 6x, then y is equals to 6x. This minus 4, you can take it on the other side, it's going to be plus 4. So that is how you go to get the equation of a line given the 2 points. Let's look at part 2 of the example. We have 2 points, one is 11, 1, and another point which is 14, 4. So just as we have done the first case, we need first to get the gradient of the line before we go and do the equation of the line. So the gradient is going to be given by change in y over change in x, and change in y here can have 4 minus 1 divided by 14 minus 11. So 4 minus 1 should be 3. Then 14 minus 11 should be 3 also, and 3 over 3 is equals to 1. So our gradient is 1. Then we pick a point, can take be the first point there, 11, 1, and arbitrary point xy passing through anywhere along the line. Then from there, we're going to be having now while the gradient is given by change in y over change in x. So y minus 1 over x minus 11 is equals to 1. So 1 is just like 1 over 1. And when you cross multiply, you're going to be having y minus 1 is equals to x minus 11. So you can have y on one side, then x minus 11, this is minus 1, goes on the other side of the equal sign, go to be plus 1. Then you're going to be having y is equals to x minus 11 plus 1 should be minus 10. So that's how you get the equation of a line. And then let's look at that one. We have first point is 3, 7, and the second point is 5, 7. I want to get the equation of this, of a line that is passing through the 2 points. So the first thing, we get the gradient, which is given by change in y over change in x, and then change in y, I have 7 minus 7 divided by 3 minus 5. So you're going to have 7 minus 7 is 0, divided by 3 minus 5 should be minus 2. So our gradient is going to be 0 divided by minus 2. We know any number divided by 0 is 0, but because we want to get the equation of this line, we can use it the way it is. Then we take a point like the first one, 3, 7, and a arbitrary point x, y, and our gradient there is 0 over minus 2, and use the equation, the gradient of a line which is given by change in y over change in x, then get y minus 7 divided by x minus 3 should give us our gradient, which is equal to 0 divided by minus 2. Then you also multiply to get minus 2 times y minus 7 is equal to 0 times x minus 3. So minus 2 times y, we get to have minus 2y plus 14 is going to give us 0. Another times 0 is 0. So minus 2y, can take this 14 on the other side, is equal to minus 14. Then you divide by minus 2 on both sides, and have y is equals to positive 7. Minus 14 divided by minus 2 is equals to 7.